What did you think of Shaquem Griffin when you watched him work out at the Combine, Jim?
Well, I was blown away, Rich. I saw him. I was actually watching the Michigan game against UCF last year at the Big House, and I was watching, and all of a sudden they showed Shaquem and did a little piece on him, and I didn't even notice that he was out there playing with one hand. And after that, I've been following him and rooting for him, and just couldn't be more impressed with his determination and his toughness. And I'm just so happy that he did so well at the Combine, and I hope he gets a shot to play some professional football.
Now, is the reason why you were born without a right hand the same reason why he was born without a left, Jim?
It's similar. I didn't have amniotic band syndrome. I had actually it was a blood circulation, actually lack of blood circulation that got to my right side of my body and caused my right hand not to develop fully. So a little bit different, but almost the exact same condition in the end.
And so what would you say to him if you could reach out to him? I'm assuming you have not connected yet, Jim.
I have not. I have a number to try to reach him, and I'm looking forward to doing that. I know the whole world is watching. I'm sure his schedule is crazy, but I'd just like to tell him, how proud I am of him. I know he's trying to be the best possible football player he could be, and that's what he should do at this point. Go after this dream. And there's so many people that'll be inspired by him. There's so many parents that will look to him. There's so many kids around the country who have similar conditions who will grasp on to his being a role model. But for now, be the best football player you can be. Go out there, live this dream, give it everything you have, and just by doing that, he's going to provide such an incredible inspiration to so many people. And I'd just love to let him know how many people are rooting for him.
Jim Abbott here on the Rich Eisen Show. He said, Jim, at the Combine when he was in front of the media, that anytime he drops a football, he knows people are thinking it's because he doesn't have a left hand, whereas any other linebacker drops it, it's just assumed that it was a bad football thrown in their direction. It was just tough to catch. I'm wondering how you would take that and try and decipher it based on your experiences.
Well, I remember you try to shore up weaknesses or whatever anybody might perceive as a weakness. Either as the competition. I really worked on my bunt defense. I really worked on the comebackers back up through the mound because those comebackers are tough for any pitcher. But I didn't want it, any sort of blame or any sort of attention to be paid for the idea that, I played differently, that I had to switch the glove on and off of my left hand. And while that may have been a legitimate excuse to some degree, I did not want that perception, and I'm sure he feels the same way. And watching his 40-yard dash, I thought it was a lot more impressive than yours, to tell you the truth.
I'm in agreement, Jim.
But gosh, I maybe I'm reading into it, but there was just a desire. You can just see that there's a passion within him to show people what exactly he can do, and a great belief in his skills. And I think that's going to serve him well.
Well, to me, what was so special about that 4.38, Jim, is that it came after his 20 reps of 225 in the weight and reps room with a prosthetic on his left hand, and the whole world saw that. And in the world of social media, where you could find out in real time on your phone what people are saying and feel about you, and it can go to your head, and he could have sat there and thought to himself, well, I've made my point. He went ahead when everybody watching him stepped on the line and not only met expectations or hopes, let's put it that way, not only met hopes, he surpassed it. And to me, that shows something special about him.
I totally agree. And I watched that several times on social media. Just like you said, I replayed it, and you can see him take a little bit extra time as he set himself up before bursting out of the blocks. And man, oh man, he just exploded. And it reminds me a little bit of kind of when I was growing up. I remember having some success in locally in Flint, and then getting the opportunity at the University of Michigan and playing and having some success there, but you don't really know how you're going to measure up. How am I going to measure up against the next level? The best of the best, and And his story seems to be the same. He had some great success growing up. He has the athleticism, and the UCF obviously had such a great year last year. And now all of a sudden, boom, he's going up against, the very best, prospects in the United States, and to show out that well and to be that impressive, it's one of the coolest things I've seen in a long time.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.